Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Cup of tea on the go. Haven't long got up. Thought I'd do a quick video before I went to work. But at 3 or 4 weeks' time, is it Conor Benn versus CHRIS EUBANK Jr? Well, as I've said before, initially I wasn't that keen on this fight in the sense that I thought it was a gimmick fight. I still do, to be honest with you. And I honestly couldn't care less who wins. But there is a certain intrigue around one factor in this fight, and that is the weight. Now, initially, I said, and this is not an opinion that's necessarily changed, but I thought if CHRIS EUBANK can make the weight, the 160 weight, in the right way, retain energy, retain power, of course, he's not going to be what he would be if he came in at 168 or whatever. But if he does the weight right and he rehydrates sensibly, and he should beat Conor Benn, who is what we were led to believe, I think is probably accurate, a natural welterweight who has never fought middleweight before and is obviously, shall we say, we know what's gone on with Conor Benn. Hasn't been that particularly active. He's had 2 fights since the first attempt at the EUBANK Jr contest, but not been that active. He should beat him. EUBANK should beat Benn. All right. But the closer we get to the fight, the more I'm thinking about this weight thing. I'm thinking, I just wonder, because I watched one of G-Man's videos about this. Shout out to G-Man, as always. He's a great guy. And he pointed something out that got me thinking in his video. He said, bear in mind that Conor Benn hasn't fought at welterweight since, I think it's mid-2022. So we're talking nigh on 3 years ago. And the 2 fights that he did have when he was suspended by the board, couldn't fight in Britain, they were abroad, they were in the US, they were at 154. And G-Man also mentioned the fact that Conor Benn has released a couple of pictures on social media where he's looking buff, he's looking big, he's not looking like a welterweight, let's put it that way. He seems to be putting on the weight sensibly. How is he putting on the weight? Of course, there's always going to be a question mark over how he does it because of the issue with the PEDs. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. But it does make me think that if Benn is, and bear in mind the age he is now, he's in his late 20s, I think. He's not a kid anymore. And as we know, the older you get, you naturally put on weight. Perhaps, even though I don't think he's a genuine middleweight, I think there's a very realistic proposition that he's a proper 154-pounder now. Whereas EUBANK, someone who years ago campaigned at 168 and is in his mid-30s, it's going to be difficult for him to get down to 160 and retain his, apart from anything else, his punch resistance. I think that's going to be a major factor. So the closer we get to the fight, even though, as I say, I'll certainly watch it, but using other means, of course, I won't pay for it. But I'm just beginning to think that this is a closer fight than myself and a lot of others initially thought it was. I don't like changing my mind when it comes to, and I'm not going to make up an absolute prediction now, because I need to think about it a bit more, and we need to get close to the fight and have a look at the guys, weigh in and so on. Press conference, see if you can read anything into that. But I do think that weight is going to be a factor in ways that initially I hadn't really thought of. Specifically that Benn isn't going to be this, small welterweight. When he initially went to welterweight, he looked like a small welterweight, but that was years ago. And he hasn't fought at that weight for 3 years. He's had 2 fights at 154. if he's being sensible. And he is a very dedicated fighter. I mean, he lives in the gym and he works out regularly. He's a professional. He stays on point. You don't see him blowing up in weight or acting the damn fool. Well, And he couldn't be more motivated for this fight because he hates Eubank. He wants to smash him up and knock him out and humiliate him. Yeah, I wonder if this is a closer fight than I first thought. I'm beginning to wonder that. I don't like second guessing myself. I'd rather go with my original thoughts because I think you can you can overthink something. But looking at things, thinking about things, I think this might well be a much closer fight. And I think that Ben, that's the bit that intrigues me. What's his natural weight now? I know he hasn't fought at middleweight before. I don't think he is a middleweight. But if he's a solid 154-pounder, and Eubank comes in weakened, which I think there's a very, very realistic chance that he hasn't got 12 rounds in him. I mean, in the sense that he won't have the energy to work for 3 minutes of every round for 12 rounds for 36 minutes. I think we could see a very intriguing fight. And I've got to be honest, initially I had no interest in this fight, but as we get towards it, I'm thinking it's the weight that makes me curious. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think I'm sort of second guessing myself too much, or that I'm talking bollocks, or that I've got something to what I'm saying? Maybe you agree with me. I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, I'm intrigued to know your opinion too. But yeah, let me know. And if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, do all that usual stuff. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing, and I'll catch you later. Enjoy your day. Nice one.